What's up, sports fans? We finna come on back at you. Nick finna go ahead and close it out. He got about 10 more minutes. So if you got any questions, go ahead and hit him up. All right, Nick, what you got?
Big 12 action, which is going to be short because Big 12 action is not that good right now. Of course, we have Baylor, number 2 team in the country right now. You know, Baylor looked really good, and I can't really see a team beating Baylor. I know Baylor faces off against TCU later in the season, but, I mean, Baylor looks really good until the Baylor quarterback, Seth Russell, goes out of the game with a broken bone in his neck. A neck is a really, really, really touchy subject. It's a touchy area. You know, just look at Peyton Manning. That neck is something that you don't really want to play around with, and we just found out today that Seth Russell's going to be out for the season. So what's Baylor going to do? I mean, don't get me wrong. Now we know that Baylor. A lot of people say Baylor is a system type of team, but they have a really good quarterback backing up, you know, Seth Russell and Jarrett Stidham. So what are they going to do? If we're going to really find out if it's a system with him being out. Now, can Jarrett run this team the same way? I know a lot of people just say, you know, they focus on the quarterbacks, but Shock Linwood, the running back for Baylor, he's one of the top running backs in the nation. He has game. He can flat out fly. He's a really, really good football player. Oklahoma State, they dogged Kansas out 58-10. That's not surprising. Kansas has not won a single game yet. They are 0-7 and 0-4 in conference, so it's a really bad team. And Oklahoma State should have beaten them. Texas gets another win.
I got a question.
What's up?
Is UCF won a game yet?
UCF has not won a game yet. UCF's coach, George O'Leary, just retired because they have not won a game. UCF is 0-8. That's worse than Kansas. That's one more loss. UCF can't get it together right now. And this is not the typical AAC that we've seen. Temple is 7-0 and ranked number 22 in the nation. Memphis is 7-0 and ranked number 18 in the nation. Houston is 7-0 and ranked number 21 in the nation. Do you see what I'm getting right here? The AAC has three undefeated teams, and they're all those teams are ranked. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That blows my mind. I mean, they have some talent. I'm a big fan of this Memphis quarterback. I think he's good. Paxton Lynch has a lot of talent. He's 6'7" also.
Well, I seen him running a touchdown. I got a nice picture of him running over a couple of Bulls players when they came here.
Ooh, you know what? I know a lot of USF fans, and they wouldn't be happy to hear that. Not talking about their team. So let me give USF their kudos for beating SMU 38-14. You know, Quentin Flowers, he's clearly, you know, passing is not his thing. But Quentin Flowers had 201 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. A quarterback.
I think he broke the record for USF quarterbacks or something like that. It was some kind of rushing quarterback record he broke.
I mean, to have 200 rushing yards, you had to break some type of record. If you have a bunch of quarterbacks that's running for over 200 yards and you're not Georgia Tech or Georgia Southern, then there's something going on. But you know what? He has wheels. The kid can fly. He's athletic.
Yes, sir.
And that's why he put up 201 yards on the ground. He didn't have 100 yards passing, so he's going to have to, you know, maybe sharpen that up as time goes on. But you know what? That was a really impressive win by them. You know, they have some really good pieces with USF. I'm not really sure what's going to happen with Taggart. You know, they haven't been the strongest, but you know what? They're 4-3 right now, and they're 2-1 in conference. So they're right there in the thick of things, and they have some, like I said, they have some really good pieces. So you know, we'll see how things play out with USF, but we'll just see how things play out with the AAC as a whole, because you know what? To have 3 teams ranked right now and to be undefeated is really big. And some of these teams have beat some big time programs. I know Houston beat Louisville. Memphis beat Ole Miss. So some of these teams have some signature wins. So you can't really knock them. But I got a question from one of my main men, Aubrey Gavin, and Aubrey wants to know what do I think about Bobby Bowden saying FSU didn't join the SEC because it was too tough of a conference. He was like, why did I say that now? I've been a fan of Florida State since I was a kid, so naturally I'm a fan of Bobby Bowden. But you know what, Bobby Bowden got out of touch with the game during the lost decade. That's why Bobby Bowden's not a coach anymore. The guy's a really smart guy. He's a really great guy. But he just kind of got out of touch with things. Now, when Florida State joined the ACC in the 90s, especially in the early 90s, it's not like the SEC was just out there steamrolling people. So I'm not really sure why he says that. I'm not sure if he's confusing the SEC with maybe the SEC of the last maybe 7 or so years, not counting the last 2 years, that was just really dominant and just won national championship after national championship.
I don't know what Bobby was saying either. I mean, I think Florida State, from what I've seen, could get in the SEC and play week to week, but I don't know why you would be scared. I mean, I think you guys could pull it off. You're from Florida. I mean, that gives you ground right there. I mean, I don't know any team that wouldn't say, hey, let me get in the SEC, see where I stand at when you at that caliber. You can't say you the champion, you're scared at the same time. I don't understand.
I think Bobby was just talking. Bobby said a few comments recently that had just kind of been like, it's Bobby, just brush it off. You know how you kind of have that. You kind of have that grandfather.
Yeah, old Gramps in the room just talking. That's what it sounds like.
Exactly. And your grandfather says something to you and you just look at him and be like, what are you talking about? You know what? I'm just going to this other room and talk to somebody else right now because you over here tripping. I think that's what's going on with Bobby Bowden right now. I hear those comments. I look at him like, you know what? You're tripping right now. I talked on USF. Now, there was a person in particular that wanted me to talk about USF, and she feels like I didn't give her a shout out. So let me give my friend Tamara Duval a shout out for having me talk about USF. Yeah, there you go, Tamara. That's your shout out for today.
But that's all you gave her?
Yeah, that's a shout out for right now.
We got to do better. Because I know Duval. I heard about Duval. It don't sound like they get no small shout outs. You got to do a little better than that.
Yeah. I'm gonna give her that. I'll give her a little bit more later. I gotta touch on the Big Ten just a little bit. I haven't got on the Big Ten yet. We have Ohio State, the number 1 team in the country. Everybody knows who they are. Ohio State hadn't really looked that good this season. But you know what? Ohio State looks like they're getting things on track. Urban Meyer, we all know he's one of the top coaches in college football right now. And he's been for a long time. And he's getting things on track. Those guys are looking solid. One of the best moves that he made was benching Cardell Average Jones. Yes, I gave him a new nickname. Cardell Average Jones.
Average?
Benching him and putting JT Barrett in.
Okay.
Now, Urban runs a specific kind of offense, and you need a quarterback that can run that offense and a quarterback that's elusive and that can run. And Cardell Jones is not that. But JT Barrett, he is that. JT Barrett, he's good. Like, he threw for 223 yards and 3 touchdowns. But also when you have a player like Ezekiel Elliott at running back that puts up 142 yards and 2 touchdowns, now Ezekiel Elliott, he's running all over teams. He's just putting up 100-yard games, game after game after game after game. And Braxton Miller is looking really, really good right now at receiver. I wasn't sure how that transition was going to go for Braxton Miller, but he's looking really strong. Now, I wonder how he transitioned over to the NFL. He has the speed, of course. He has the athleticism. But how things going to play out for him in the long run, we'll see. But if playing receiver can keep his shoulder together, that's great for him.
Now, I got a question for you. So, Ohio State got to play Michigan State, right? So what that's going to look like? I know that's a couple of weeks away, but what we looking at on that game?
Now, originally I had Ohio State tripping up to Michigan State, but I don't know if I'm really ready to concede that anymore because it seems like Ohio State has gotten back to the Ohio State in the second half of last season when they started steamrolling teams on their way to a championship where they steamrolled Alabama in the playoffs and then they steamrolled Oregon in the championship game. So I'm not ready to concede that anymore. Now, I mean, Michigan State, they had a big win over Indiana. I think Connor Cook is a really good quarterback. He can throw the ball all around. He can make all the throws. But I don't know if they're built that way. This is not the same defense that they had last year or in some of the years past. They have some soft factors every now and then. And right now, with Ohio State getting on track, that could be really, really, really scary for Michigan State. I mean, Connor Cook, he comes out against Indiana. He puts up 398 yards through the air and 4 touchdowns. I think he was 2 off from the single game record for Michigan State. But, hey, you're playing a different type of beast when you play Ohio State. And right now, Ohio State, they're looking legit. A lot of people wanted them to kind of fall off and lose some of their votes for first place. But, you know what? I have to give it to them. Right now, they deserve all the votes that they're getting. But right now, sports fans, I'm going to take one more break for you. I'm going to come back with some closing remarks.
What's going on, sports fans out there? Just want to give a quick shout out to an insurance company, James Clark Insurance Company, over on 8801 North Nebraska. That's Tampa, Florida, 33604. Telephone number is 813-205-5964. That's 813-205-5964. What they actually have over there is they have your auto insurance, they have your homeowner's insurance, your renter's insurance. So if you need insurance, give those guys a call. Once again, that's 813-205-5964. They got companies such as Windhaven, Progressive. I think they're working on getting State Farm. So if you got those auto needs, give those guys a call. I'm actually one of the agents over there, so if you need insurance, you can holler at your boy. My number is 678-231-5767. That's 678-231-5767. If you have a business in the Tampa Bay area, we're working on the ad prices right now, so you can get your ad prices in on a show like this. We're talking about sports, college sports. So if that fits your business and clientele, then give us a shout out. All right, we're going to get a little bit more music. Me and Nick gonna try to close this show out, and we'll talk to you guys in a second.
Pac-12 football, all over the place. That's what I can say about the Pac-12. Utah, USC. Utah, the number 3 ranked team in the nation. USC, unranked, with an alcoholic former head coach, and now our interim coaching them. I know a lot of people, okay, well, Utah should win this game easily. But you know what? USC has better athletes all around than Utah does. And in that second half, USC came out and they physically dominated Utah. Now, Utah, they're not the most talented team, but it's like they just couldn't stop anything. USC, they put up 21 points in the second quarter alone. You can't allow a team to put up 21 points in a quarter and still expect to win the game. Cody Kessler, 264 yards, 1 touchdown, running back by committee. Ronald Jones II, 73 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Justin Davis, 66 yards on the ground and a touchdown. And over there on the Utah side, Travis Wilson, 254 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. It sounds good until I say 4 interceptions. Now it doesn't sound as good anymore, does it? Devontae Booker, 62 yards on the ground. It's not cutting it. Travis Wilson put up another 35 on the ground. But you know what? That's not cutting it. Kobe did his thing at wide receiver for Utah with 129 receiving yards. But Juju Smith had 143 receiving yards for USC. Juju Smith is going to be a special player in the future. You know what? I'm not sure what's going on in the Pac-12. UCLA, freshman phenom, one of the best freshman quarterbacks we've seen. One of the best freshman quarterbacks we've seen in a while. Comes out and has a big game. They knock off California. They beat them pretty easily. Stanford beats Washington. Stanford is still my pick to win the Pac-12 right now. I know they're 6-1, but they're 5-0 in conference. And the way Stanford is playing right now, I don't really see a lot of teams being able to beat them. I know it'll be interesting to see the way those things play out. What I am interested to see is, as you may know, next week the College Football Playoff Committee comes out with their first ranking of the season.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So what you think?
I'm not really sure. Last year, the College Football Playoff Committee was full of crap. They were just throwing teams in, taking teams out, switching things around. I know they had some teams up there in the top that were really, really questionable. I don't know why the playoff committee has a top 10. I don't care what y'all think about teams 5 through 10. It doesn't matter.
If you're not in the top 4, or I guess on the bubble, 5 and 6. Yeah. Everybody else.
Maybe that's it, but don't come out with a top 10, a top 25, because I don't care what you think. Because first of y'all are not watching all of those games enough.
No, not at all.
To rank those. So some of those you're just ranking off of kind of name value and what you hear through the grapevine. So don't come out with that top ranking. Just come out with your top 4 and maybe your 2 teams on the bubble. But I don't know what they're going to do this year. But I know some teams that are probably going to be in there Baylor's still going to be in there. Clemson's going to be in there. Ohio State, obviously. Alabama. But where do you put LSU? Is LSU going to be in that top 4 also?
I would put them in there.
You know.
But where would you put them at?
LSU, they look good. I'm not sold on their passing game. I'm not sold on Harris at quarterback.
You don't need to pass. I mean, you gotta train in the backfield.
Clash of the Titans is coming up. Alabama has the best front 7 in college football. Leonard Fournette is one of the best running backs. How many yards is he going to get on his vaunted Alabama front 7 is going to be the question. Can they stop him? Can they slow him down? I think they're going to be able to slow him down. Not going to be able to stop him because he's a great player.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to be able to slow him down. And Harris was being all over the place. I see Alabama winning that game. I'm not going to say they're going to win by a lot. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game.
Alabama going to beat LSU? That's what you feel?
Most definitely because, like I said, Harris is not a strong passer, and Alabama's kind of worked on some things in their secondary. So they have some pieces. You know, Marlon Humphrey's out there starting at cornerback right now. He was one of the top cornerbacks coming out of high school. They still have Derrick Henry. I mean, LSU's going to be able to stop some of them too, but I think this game is really going to come down to the quarterbacks and who can perform better. And you have 2 subpar quarterbacks. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. In a matchup of top 10 teams.
You can't have everything.
You know, in a matchup of top 10 teams, you have 2 subpar quarterbacks and Harris and Coker. Who's going to be the least subpar quarterback on Saturday?
Gonna be.
You know, who's going to be the least subpar quarterback?
That's not this week, is it?
It's coming up soon. Yeah, it's coming up now. And I just think that Jacob Coker is going to be a little bit better, and I think that he's going to be able to plot the win for Alabama. You know, I mean, you can't really discount Les Miles, but you know what? Nick Saban, he's one of the best coaches in college football, and he's been that way for a very, very, very long time.
So what games you going to be watching this weekend?
First of all, I'm going to watch every game that I can. I'm going to take every game in that I possibly can because I just love college football as it is. But there's not, you know what, this weekend is not really a big weekend, in my opinion. But you know what, you do have some games. Florida and Georgia. What do they call that? The biggest outdoor cocktail party.
Let's get drunk, baby.
You know what? But I look for Florida to beat up on Georgia.
Make a statement.
You know, Georgia's not a good team.
They say you should never kick a man when he's down, but when else you gonna kick him?
Don't kick him when he's down, but you can step on him. You know what? And Georgia's not a good team. You know what? Treon Harris really surprised me in his last game. He came out and threw for more yards, and he had a really, really, really good game. A much better game than I thought he was going to have.
Well, it's time to get that ready. I mean, if you're planning on making a run for it, you're going to have to get some of them passes completed.
And the bottom line is Florida has players on defense especially. Florida has players. They have, I mean, you know, you got Hargreaves.
Well, I seen him when he was in high school, and I haven't seen anything like that in a while. I mean, they let him roam free when he was in high school. He was back there by himself and making interceptions like well, you know, you guys see him. We've been seeing him.
You know, they let him run free, and he makes plays, and he makes plays now. Now, he can kind of shut down one side of the field, and you got Tabor on the other side who is kind of coming into his own. They have a strong front 7. They get a lot of pressure with that defensive line. They can clog up those running lanes. So I really look for them, especially with Nick Chubb out. I really look for them to kind of be able to dominate that line of scrimmage. I know they're really thin with their depth on the offensive line. So that's going to be a big thing. How can they hold up on the offensive line? Now, I know they've been fairly good when it comes to injuries this year, which has kind of allowed them to hold up because if a couple of their offensive linemen go down, it's going to be trouble for him, and Treon's going to be running for his life. I mean, good thing he's a dual threat quarterback. Will Greer was a better quarterback to me, and I think Will Greer really let his team down with what he did. And I know a lot of people say, "Oh, it was a mistake," but you know what? When you're playing big time football like that, you know you can't take any supplements without going and talking to that training staff first. And he took something over the counter, and he got busted for it.
Well, it's kind of funny how that came out now.
You know what? People were talking about it before they even played that game that weekend. So the word was around, and they still played them. But hey, you know what? It happens as next man up type of mentality, and they've been playing really well so far. They surprised me with their record, what they play on the field. You know, their coach Jim, he's come in, he's kind of got those boys together. He has their heads on straight. They're playing some much better football. We'll see how things kind of go out down the line for them, but I've been really impressed with them so far this year. Also, I have to personally give kudos to Judy McLeod. Now, there's kind of rumor that she's going to be the next commissioner of Conference USA football. So she's going to, I believe that'll make her the first woman to head an FBS conference as a commissioner. That's really big for the sport of football. You know, you want to bring in men and women. It's all about gender equality, and there's women out there that can coach just as well as men. Now, I don't know when we're going to see a woman as the head coach of a big time program, but you know what? It'll come eventually. Think about it, the NFL, female referee. So things take a while, a long time coming, but I think they're going to integrate themselves in more. You know, there's a lot more women that are kind of watching football and involved with it now more than ever, especially with football being so big right now. So, you know, you have the lingerie football league, and I'm not saying that's the standard for women. I'm not saying the lingerie football league is the standard, but
I can't watch it.
Just your wife won't let you watch it. That's why you can't watch it. Your wife won't let you watch it. But
I can't watch it.
But there's people out there that are watching the lingerie football league. But just kind of having a pro football sport for women. Just even if it's lingerie and it's kind of whatever. Just to kind of have that is just kind of showing how women are being more involved in football than ever, and that's going to carry over to big time football in the future. I mean, that's only one way it can go. So, you know, there's a lot of interesting things going on in football right now. So I'm kind of interested to see how things will play out. I remember, like I told you, if you have any questions or just kind of any statements, always hit me up on my Facebook, Nicholas Austin Holiday. You know, we take birthday requests. I'll sing happy birthday for you. You know, they say I do a pretty mean Stevie Wonder rendition of Happy Birthday. I'm not sure exactly who says that, but you know, I'll sing you a little birthday shout out if that's what you want. So let me know about birthdays and all of that good stuff. But I'm not, you know, is there any game you're looking forward to this weekend? Let me ask you that, Toby.
No, not really. I haven't really looked at any of the games that's going on. I got a couple of other events. I'm actually going to bring that information out later when we close out the show, different events that's coming up. But no, I haven't really looked at any football, so I'm going to go ahead and try to check something out. Well, I don't know, man. I might watch that Miami-Duke game. I really don't want to watch Miami. I mean, they hurting me right now, man. Wow. Make you want to turn your TV off. They got to get it together. It's a lot of good players down in that area that I know they can get. They just don't want to be there when they're losing like this. But I think they're going to get it turned around. I know earlier I was saying I don't think they're going to do it, but in my heart I really believe Miami got a chance. Florida been getting it back together, rolling, so Miami, you got to come on with it, you know, at this point. Because eventually, I mean, Jacksonville State down in Jacksonville, last year they was almost undefeated. I mean, you know, you got Southeastern over there in in Lake Wales, and I think that's Lake Wales down in the Bronto area. They starting to get it together. So, I mean, come on. It's too much talent in the area for you guys not to be on top where you need to be at. So I'm gonna give you a couple of events that's coming up soon. Go ahead and close us out, Nick.
Well, sports fans, like always, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the show. You know, I try to bring you the best football action that I can for the weekend. You know, the Thursday night games, and I try to share this wealth of knowledge in my head. I just try to spread it out to the world. But no, I'm just joking around. But you know what? The football landscape is crazy this year, and I just can't wait to see how things are going to play out in the future, how the rest of the college football season is going to go. There's been so many ups and downs, highs and lows, you know, from the bobble punt, block punt with Michigan State, to now the block field goal with Florida State and Georgia Tech. You know, things are just getting crazy. I compare some of those plays to the Iron Bowl from a couple of years ago between Alabama and Auburn. You know, nobody remembers. Everybody remembers the pick six, whatever you want to call it. Everybody remembers that. Just kind of return that for a touchdown. And I mean, football is just gonna get crazy. I mean, it's football. On any given Saturday, anything can happen. So I'm just interested to see how things will play out. You know what? I kind of try to think if I had a thank you letter for the week, cause I always like to thank teams for doing something that makes me happy. And you know what? I'm gonna have to give a thank you letter this week to Dabo Swinney and Clemson. You know why I'm gonna give that thank you letter? Is because Al Golden got fired. Now, I'm not happy about Al Golden getting fired because I really think that him as an average coach was great for Miami because it was great for Florida State. But you know what? I'm giving a thank you on behalf of all the Miami fans. Miami fans have been clamoring to get Al Golden out of there for years, and they just kept him there, and he just kept losing games. He kept having average seasons, and you know what? After that Clemson game, they said enough was enough. So I'm really interested to see where Miami goes from here. What coach are they going to bring in? What upgrades are they going to make to their facilities? What kind of coaching staff is he going to bring in? Who is he going to keep that's there now? I know one thing. I know our coach D'Onofrio, the defensive coordinator, I know he's gone because if Al Golden wanted to keep his job, Al Golden should have got rid of D'Onofrio years ago when he was running that busted defense where players running around looking lost, can't make tackles. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not all on the coaches. Players have to man up sometimes and make plays. But my thank you letter of the week goes to Dabo Swinney and Clemson because they got Al Golden out of there. And that's my thank you letter from the Miami fans that I know towards that Miami program.
And
So
I think they'll accept that letter.
I think they do because they're all happy right now. Now, the grass is not always green on the other side, so we'll see how things play out. But it'll be interesting to see how things go. But I want to thank all my devoted followers for listening and chiming in on all of the sports action. And we'll be here every Monday on the AGM Radio Network between 8 and 9. As you can see, the show ran over a little bit today. That happens sometimes when you have a lot of things to talk about and there's some technical difficulties in the beginning. But we'll be back here next week with you for some more football action. My co-host will more than likely be back on the air with me. I had my good soundboard engineer, Buddy Scott, kind of manning the helm for me a little bit.
Oh, man.
But thank you, sports fans. This is Between Class of Sports on the AGM Network, and we'll see you same time, same place next weekend. Thank you.
Now, I told you guys we got a couple of events going on this weekend, college events. So if these things fit what you like doing, first one I got up, we got a Pink and Ice Ball that's going on at USF from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. I think it's hosted by the Alphas. Don't quote me on that. I think it's hosted by the Alphas. It's going to be from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. USF Marshall Center. It's going to be in rooms 21 A and B. I think that's the actual ballroom. So that's going to be from 7 to 10. If you like classical dance, HCC is hosting a fine lady, I think, coming out of New York. The event's called Considered Water. She's going to be doing some dancing. I think that event's probably about $10 or $15. If you like Relentless Dance Troupe, I know they have an event on Friday as well, 9:30 to 12. You can see all of these events on the betweenclasses.org site. You click on the calendar, you'll see those events. If you have an event coming up, go ahead and let us know. Email us at betweenclassestampa@gmail.com. We'll go ahead and try to get those on the air. We'll definitely get them on the site. If you got a picture, go ahead and add that with it. Get that information to us so we can put it on the air. We can put it on the site. We're going to be out of here, and we'll see you guys next Monday, 8 p.m. We're working on a high school show. We're also working on that actual professional show, which will be NBA or NFL. So look out for those shows coming up, and good night.